President Nana Akufo-Addo has admitted the economy of Ghana is going through some trying times. He has, however, dismissed concerns these difficulties amount to a crisis, insisting government is on top of the situation. Speaking to the Ghanaian community in New York, USA, President Nana Akufo described the difficulties to attributed the difficulties to dramatic increase in crude oil prices and the strengthening of the US dollar.
Related but totally unexpected events have occurred that have also put a lot of pressure on people at home. One has been the dramatic increase in crude oil prices that we've seen. The budget, last November's budget, budgeted for a $57 per barrel crude, is today at 78. So you can imagine the pressures that in itself has brought on the budget. That $20 increase in the crude oil prices, what it is doing to the budget. And it is taking place also at a time when the United States dollar has also strengthened considerably in the foreign exchange markets of the world. It has led to a significant, rapid depreciation of our CD, which the Bank of Ghana is now having to fight. It's not a crisis, but the difficulties that we're going through now are difficulties that the system will be able to accommodate. It has meant some difficulties in the lives of ordinary people in Ghana, but it is events that were out of our control, but which we have to find a way to accommodate. And we're going to be able to do so that we can get a more even keel in events at home. They're not matters on which we can be complacent. They're difficult situations, but difficult situations also require some degree of fortitude and firm action. And that is what we're trying to do at home.
Well, some Ghanaians Johnny's has been speaking with here in Accra have lauded the President's honesty, saying he needs time to fix the challenges. There are others, though, who say he cannot be making excuses.
All I can say that he's trying his best, but still the economy is a bit hard. So all that I can say, we should give him more chance and pray to support him so that he can deliver what he told us. No, not really, but he's trying his best. He promised free education, and it is happening. Although the free education is facing some challenges, but at least it shall be well. We trust God that it shall be well.
Yes, it's true, because for some time now, my mom is a trader. Okay, she goes for goods and then comes to sell it. But now, she doesn't used to go like how she used to, like maybe 3 years back. Like she could go to Togo like maybe 3 times in a month, but now even to go once a month is hard, it's difficult. And as I'm standing here now, I've not even paid my fees. I'm a student of GIJ. I've not even paid my fees, and I have a penalty to also add up to. So like, I don't know much about the economy. It's a huge word, but I think things are difficult this time. It's very, very difficult. So if Akufo-Addo himself has come out to say that we are going through difficult times, I think he's being honest, and for that I'm cool with that.
Listen, there's no need being a master of all trade and a jack of all trade, we are a master of none. Listen, let the president and the vice focus on doing one or two things. So you can't say you want to develop all aspects of the economy. You get it? Either you want to, is it academics, is it in education, is it transport? Anything, just focus on 1 or 2 things and stop giving us excuses. You get it? They should learn and copy. You're talking about the cedis and the dollar. Listen, what is Donald Trump doing that the dollar is rising and then the cedi is falling? What is Donald Trump doing that he is not doing? You should then learn and copy and stop giving excuses. You get it? Leaders, they keep giving us excuses. Listen, we want work, we want action. We want action. You get it? Unemployment is increasing every day, and now, no, I don't know. I believe that. I think that Akufo-Addo is not really doing. He's not doing anything. Actually, he's spoiling the economy. He should learn. He should copy from other nations. He should copy. Listen, he's just trying to be He's just trying to be political, diplomatic. Listen, he should not bring this unnecessary thing. Listen, this thing was. Why didn't he say it earlier? He's just trying to be diplomatic because he knows the way things are going. Listen, the way things are going, blames will come upon him. So he's just trying to be diplomatic, political. I don't believe in political talks, diplomatic statements. I believe in action.
Was elected to power, there's also challenges that you also encounter. And also, even for him to come out to admit that there's challenges in the economy or he's facing crisis, we do accept. But what we are also hoping for is that now that you know there's challenges, we are hoping for the best that you also find a possible way to overcome the challenges.
In another development, Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia says the focus of the new patriotic party government is not just on macroeconomic stabilization, but also pro-poor policies that transform the core of the Ghanaian society. He said pro-poor policies that Ghanaians have enjoyed emanated from the NPP government under former President Kufuor and currently Nana Akufo-Addo. He was speaking at the second National Policy Summit in Tamale. Martina Bugre reports.
The Vice President, who said this today at the opening ceremony of the 2018 Policy Summit in Tamale, the Northern Regional Capital, questioned which pro-poor policy the NDC, which claims to be a social democrat, had offered the people of Ghana. He named some of the flagship campaign promises they had implemented, including the free senior high school and its benefits.
Ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to policies to protect the poor and the vulnerable in Ghana, the NPP has a remarkable record. It's a remarkable record. After all, it is under the NPP that you see the National Health Insurance, National Youth Employment, Metro Mass Transit, the LEAP, the school feeding, free maternal care, restoration of teacher and nurses allowances, Zubo Development Fund, and so on. It's only under the NPP. Can anyone here recall the social intervention policies that the NDC implemented that have been sustained? What are the policies? What were the social intervention policies that the socialist NDC government implemented? What were the policies? Everything we wanted to implement to help the people, they said it was not possible. They said free SHS was not possible. I tell them it has been made possible by
Dr. Bawumia said when it comes to managing the country, the NPP government has done a far better job than the NDC, describing the NDC's performance as scary. The Vice President said this year's depreciation of the cedi against the dollar is the second lowest in Ghana's history.
Ghana's economic fundamentals are strong. This was confirmed last week by Standard & Poor's, the global rating agency, which has upgraded Ghana's rating, sovereign credit rating, from B- to B with a stable outlook. And this is the first upgrade that Ghana has received in 10 years. The reason that we are having this depreciation is more to do with the strength of the dollar. Against the euro and the British pound, the cedi has been quite stable. The cedi has only depreciated by 2.7% against the UK pound and 3.48% against the euro. And this only reinforces the fact that the strengthening dollar is the issue. Of course, many would prefer that there is no depreciation at all, because in an import-dependent economy such as ours, any depreciation in the exchange rate tends to add to prices, and this is why business people are very sensitive to exchange rate movements, and we will strive as a government to keep the exchange rate stable. However, I would like to note that Ghana is not running a fixed exchange rate system, and the exchange rate movements will be determined ultimately by the economic fundamentals, even if we have recently been hit by external shocks. The shocks notwithstanding, the fact still remains that our record of management of the city has been a relatively good one. That said, we will continue to stick to fiscal discipline and market determination of exchange rates. We will not be forced by these external shocks expedient but economically unsustainable decisions.
We're taking a break here on Joy News Prime. Parliament on Monday began sitting in an emergency session that will run till Friday. The House is expected to approve over $700 million in fresh loans, credit arrangement, and barter financing initiatives. This is coming at a time when the country's debt stock has hit more than $142 billion. Minority spokesperson on Roads and Transport Kwame Agbojo says the government is running the country into a ditch.
See, the first few items are all loans, and some of them are still part of the controversial one, including the Sino Hydro. We have a lot of questions, but the government is pushing ahead. They have brought a commercial agreement. We are yet to see the document, but it's all about loans, and we are getting choked with loans, but this government is not going to be budged. I think they believe that is the only way out, so they're going to borrow until everybody stops giving them anyway.
Do you find that troubling for the economy?
Yes.
They say that's how they would want to develop the country.
Well, but that is different from what they said before they came to government. They said they can mobilize their own resources. But currently, that is not what is happening. Loans every day. And you're going to see that from tomorrow, we are going to be talking about loans every day until Friday. And it's sad. The history of this house tells me that for the number of things they brought to this house, and that's supposed to be done by Friday, hell no, we're not going to be able to do a better job. They're going to dump a lot of documents on us and force us to stay in the night and pass them and go away. And when we are done, you'll notice the public is going to realize that maybe we could have done better in terms of scrutiny. That is the problem. The new generation is going to be in real trouble paying up the mess we are creating today.
What do you want government to do if they can raise the money internally, bring development to a halt?
Well, it's a matter of priority. For instance, I keep asking, who asked you to pay my child's school fees at secondary school? I can pay. They've brought this upon themselves. You notice that resources have been taken away from basic schools to be brought to secondary school. So they have created things that are making it difficult for them to do capital investment. That is what the problem is.
But Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has defended government's management of the debt stock.
You know, tourism is such an important developmental tool, especially for jobs. Not sure you want to delay something of that nature when you have it on record. Then we have the Ghana Commercial Agriculture Project. I mean, you and I know that in terms of agric, that is really sort of the seedbed for industrialization. Then we had a financing agreement for the public sector reform. And the public sector reform is going to be sort of led by the senior minister. And it really kind of constitutes trying to create efficiencies in all these areas that we have a lot of leakages. So we are looking at support for DVLA and passport offers and all of the other ministries that we sort of will require and that we are more efficient in the things we do. So that's important. And, you know, senior ministers' experience is going to be very helpful in streamlining these places. So we thought we should get that through this time before we go. Then there's a suppliers credit of equipment from Brazil for agriculture. And that's an interesting one because I think it started somewhere in 2015 in which the first tranche of $30 million or so. And then this is the balance that we are doing. It sounds to me like there's a little bit of a problem because we don't see a parliamentary approval for the first tranche that was done. So
in a related development, the appointment of new minister designates have been referred to the Appointments Committee for approval. Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu says it's about time ministers who are reshuffled from the original ministries to others are vetted for fresh approval.
Of state. That is why I'm raising the question. For instance, Mr. Speaker, if tomorrow it is the pleasure of the President to swap the ministers sitting by each other, from monetary evaluation to finance, from finance to roads. Mr. Speaker, in a likely or unlikely event, Mr. Speaker, what I do know is that Minister Ken Ofori-Atta appeared before Parliament's Appointments Committee to demonstrate demonstrate his competences for finance, not for monitoring or tracking. So if he has to move to tracking and monitoring, monitoring evaluation, Mr. Speaker, can Parliament play a role in saying that no, Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, you came to Parliament with your competence as Minister for Finance, given your background as an investment economist. Now you are going foreign affairs to do diplomacy. Must you just walk with your bag and baggage without reporting back to Parliament? Mr. Speaker, I'm inviting you because, yes, I'm inviting the Speaker and leadership and our colleagues that maybe, Mr. Speaker, our new standing orders must seek to right some of these wrongs that I assume may be constitutionally challenging for us going forward.
That was today's proceedings in Parliament. Now, Joy News checks at the UK office of Ghanaian gold dealer Menzgold shows it does not operate the same business model, which has gotten it into trouble with the Securities and Exchange Commission. The London office, Joy News discovered, is a rented space in the massive Berkeley Square House block, which houses about 1,000 or more businesses, mostly seeking short-term leases. Now, I was there on a recent trip to the UK, and my report follows shortly. Berkeley Square House, as the name indicates, is adjacent Berkeley Square, a famous landmark in the heart of London and not too far from the city's famous shopping district, Oxford Street. Now, take a look at the surroundings here. In July 2018, that was earlier this year, we had the chief executive of Menzgold, Nana Pia Mensah, take a shot at this very spot with his staff behind him. And it was the opening of the Menzgold offices here in London. It's here at Berkeley Square. Now, the fact that this office was open here, for many, suggested that they are into some really good business and that they're doing something really legit, which is welcome here in London. So I'm going to go into the offices to try and find out whether I can get to probably buy some gold here in their offices. So come along as I take a trip in there. And take note of Berkeley Square House. Access to offices in the building is highly restricted as one needs to go through security entrance lanes. Faced with that challenge of not making it past the lobby, I posed as a businessman seeking to take up office space. I want to make some inquiries about taking office space here.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. Are you looking for the office space within Regis company? Or just any?
Just any.
Yeah,
just any.
Of course.
In the company of a Ghanaian resident in the UK who was at the opening of the Menzgold London office, I was shown round the office suites with rents starting from £3,000 a month. We eventually ended up at the mini lobby area on the first floor where the office of Menzgold is located. Right there on the wall were nameplates for some of the companies which are taking up offices on the floor. There was, however, no Menzgold, even though the office steward taking us round explained it was optional and attracted a fee. As we stood making further enquiries, two ladies emerged from the Menzgold office and looked Ghanaian. And that was about the only clue we picked up about the company's presence at Berkeley House. So I've been there, I've been to get to see the offices. There's not much to see actually, because it turns out that it's a small office space, and you can I just saw two ladies coming out of the office where the commissioning of the Menzgold offices took place last July. So there's not really that much to see. There's not even that much signage indicating that this is where the office is. So it's quite in sharp contrast to what we have in Accra, where Menzgold is visibly displayed or is very visible wherever they have their office locations. So I actually tried to reach to Accra to see if I could get anyone here in the office to get to speak with me about the operations here in London, but I wasn't that successful at it. But what I can report is, yes, this is where the offices were inaugurated last July, and it was supposed to be, or it is supposed to be, the offices of Menzgold and Xylophone Media here in London. I've been in there, but it's not the typical kind of office or the typical kind of engagement where you have in Accra, where you see a lot of people trooping into the offices to try and, you know, buy gold or trade in gold with them. So that's about it. Hopefully we can get some more information from other sources to help you better appreciate what Menzgold does here in London. Well, I'm still waiting for that feedback from the company's representative, who I reached out to, about what exactly they do in London. We're taking a break. Now, fuel tanker drivers who staged a protest Monday morning over what they describe as poor working conditions and low salaries have suspended their action. This was, however, after clashes erupted between them and the police, who moved in to control them at the precincts of the Tama Oil Refinery. Nancy Emefajra-Dozie and Joshua Smith bring you a recap of how chaotic the drivers' intended peaceful sit-down strike turned out.
When Joy News got to the scene, an angry crowd of tanker drivers were confronting someone, allegedly from National Security, who pulled out an AK-47 to disperse the crowd. But his plan went wrong. Then chairman of the tanker drivers, George Nywanu, tried to intervene and calm tempers, though he felt his life was threatened.
Me all efforts akamenya kwan akọ ministry no na kamini minister no akokasa na so drivers no car makofa besi ho omayi from my free time no mu.
I did my best to get to meet the minister, but the drivers have deflated my tire. I am really terrified. They have locked up my office and seized my mobile phone. I am prepared to resign as chairman.
For a moment, the place was peaceful until the gas tanker drivers started to operate, but were disallowed. The police stepped in to restore calm, but when the situation got out of hand, they resorted to firing tear gas and rubber bullets to disperse the crowd.
So we are here only to maintain peace and tranquility.
Shortly after the incident, the chairman appeared angry and accused NPA boss of being behind the confusion.
Strange bullet hit 2 people. You understand? Strange bullet hitting 2 people. Okay, I'm thinking once they are peacekeepers, okay, when they come, the first thing for them to ask is even the chairman, who is your leader? You understand? But they even never asked of the leader. They started shooting. What Mr. Tampuli said on radio, I heard it, that he has nothing to do with tanker drivers. He don't know them from anywhere. Today, if the president will appoint somebody as chief executive whom tanker drivers cast product from all the depots to the destinations, and today he gets his margin and telling us that he don't know who the tanker drivers, I thank him.
2 persons were hit by rubber bullets and drivers were livid.
Is it a crime for us to address our salary issues? What is the use of the police? What kind of country is this? We work and get tired. No one asks us for 1 cedi. We ply the road from morning till evening, and if we have the platform to have a dialogue, police are invited. They can kill us. After our demise, the police should come and drive the tankers. It looks like tanker drivers are voiceless. Thus, this treatment is what we get.
But the police explained they used the tear gas and rubber bullets to restore calm.
See, we've come to maintain peace and order here. Now you can see this is a very big installation. And as they are resorting to violence, there is the need for us to disperse them. That's why we threw the tear gas to disperse them.
The entrance of the Tema oil refinery was later left calm as the chairman of the tanker drivers advised his men to leave.
Meanwhile, with immediate effect, fuel tanker drivers who discharge fuel to oil marketing companies with leaking facilities will be surcharged if found out. This is part of the measures established by the National Petroleum Authority (NPA) to ensure compliance to safety guidelines by all OMCs. The fuel tanker drivers have also been advised to boycott OMCs who fail to adhere to the safety protocols in the distribution chain. Chief Executive Officer of the National Petroleum Authority, Hassan Tampuli, addressing the media, said the measures have become necessary to deal with underground shortages at fuel stations, one of the concerns raised by the tanker drivers. At a meeting involving the Tanker Drivers Association, BOST drivers, Petroleum Workers Union and the regulator NPA, it was agreed the aggrieved workers call off the strike with immediate effect.
That the Tanker Drivers Union current strike action should be called off with immediate effect, and that all their membership who are currently stationed at various depots across should withdraw with immediate effect. Their leaders have come and the matters have been resolved one way or the other. Basically, that's the first action. The second item has to do with the underground shortages that we've been recording. We have the oil loss manual that is in circulation. And everybody, including transporters, drivers, and operators of the stations and the oil marketing companies, are expected to adhere fully to the guidelines in the manual.
Now, on issues of the salaries and remuneration of the tanker drivers, Hassan Tampuli revealed steps are being taken to iron out the rough edges.
And I believe BOST has taken it up, and in the fullness of time, those matters will be addressed. So basically, these are the matters that have agitated our minds, and we have addressed them to the satisfaction of everybody. But more importantly, we have decided that as a group, matters of this nature would be addressed by all of us sitting at a round table like this one. The events of the last couple of days really were matters which took a whole lot of us, by surprise, because there was no immediate trigger to the action that has necessitated this meeting. We've continued to engage each other on a regular basis. We are doing this also bearing in mind that there are some actions when we take is going to likely lead to shortage of products in different parts of the country. So we...
Right, and that's where we take a break. Now, chiefs found to be involved in the destruction of forest reserves in Tifio and other areas of the Western region would be distilled. That's a warning from Paramount Chief Katechie Kwesi Bumangama II, who has also directed chiefs to form local volunteer groups to protect the forest.
There are fears the Seshwi area will lose all its forest in the next 2 years if the current rate of wanton destruction in reserves continues. Affected reserves include Sea River, Tanosushen, Moro, and Krokosia. A joint military and forestry task force is presently engaged in anti-logging and encroachment exercise codenamed Operation Hot to clamp down perpetrators. Katechie Bumangama says cocoa farming, which is the backbone of the local and national economy, is under threat with current rates of forest reserve destruction. He believes chiefs must be held responsible for the worrying trend.
The rate in which the forest is depreciating seems that by 2020 we are not going to have a forest reserve. Yes, and it is true, because this involves these chainsaw operators illegal farmers, illegal logging. So I've been always be petitioning to the government, successive governments, even during Mohammed's time. I make this appeal that the government should intervene. Otherwise, the whole forest is going to be consumed by these illegal operators and illegal farmers. So my point I'm making it today is that if not the intervention of the Forestry Commission and the Lands Commission, Environment, and the rest of the agencies involved, and by bringing the soldiers to come and assist the forest guards, you know, I've expected that you are going to have a complete forest area in Sefi by 2020. I think a month ago, we had a traditional council meeting, which I made it known to various chiefs that whoever involved himself in this illegal operation or illegal farming will be disturbed.
While blaming politicians and their supporters for condoning the destruction for parochial interests, Katachebu Mankama supports the task force to succeed.
But every political party that comes to power, sympathizers, whatever, they all go into the forest to find their daily bread. So I won't be surprised if today a politician is saying this exercise is of no use. Yes, I can't comprehend. The permanent solution is the army. Because I was telling you that the strength of the forest gas is not enough. So when these soldiers are deployed to my area, it will minimize or it will eliminate this kind of exercise completely. So I would suggest to the government, if it will be possible, you can make a settlement for the soldiers in the forest.
From the Western Region for Joy News, Parliamentary reports.
Now, Menzgold UK is a community where water is randomly easy to find in the ground. But in the following report, we'll tell you that people lack potable water, whilst the district assembly has clean water flowing through its taps, some of which is used to flush their toilets. Joy News' Gifty Ando-Apia has been following development in this village for close to 6 years and now reports on the water situation there as part of the Joy News Safe Water Project, an agenda to shine a light on the lack of potable water in communities across the country.
My first visit to Menzgold UK in the Agoti Meziope district in the Volta region was in 2012. Profiling the community, we discovered many problems, including the lack of access to safe water. Residents used very dirty water. I meet dozens of young men here. They draw water from here, they say. It's a tiny stream covered with weeds. Water is supposed to be colorless, but this has a light brownish color. It looks just like milkless tea. I doubted they actually drank this water.
You have all these weeds on top of it. How do you fetch it? Or you stop using this water?
No, yeah, there is no water that we can get around this community. Some 2 years ago, that's the nurses train the community man to pour in a medicine before you usually drink it. But as the Guinea One program has ended, there is nothing going on like that.
As of 2012, the Guinea One program was ended, and this water is no longer treated at source. They just simply gulp it down. They show me a donated borehole which has been there for the past 2 years. Not a single drop of water has come through it. At the time, the DCE's residents that's less than a kilometer from the village had clean treated water flowing through taps. They even have water closet toilets. So I engaged the DCE at the time, Michael Ajaho, on what's been done for the people.
I gave them a borehole. A borehole was provided to them
by an NGO.
By an NGO through my efforts, but unfortunately, it hit a rock. That is a Adaklu rock, which passes underground. So if you're not careful and you drill, if you're not lucky, you will not get the water. So that was what happened. I sent the engineers to the place, and what we got to know was that the water surface is not sufficient for water to come up there. We gave them water, but the water is not functioning. The borehole is not functioning.
I have come back to Menzgold in 2018 to find out what has changed. The stream from which they drew water has been made a mini dam by someone who bought the land looking to start a plantation. She has forbidden them from coming close to her dam.
They drilled a borehole for us, but the water isn't flowing. When the women go to fetch water, they struggle to get even 2 pans full. It's a worry to us. We travel long distances, and sometimes we don't even get water at all. But that's all we have.
The new borehole he is referring to is close by, and I find a woman struggling to get water from it with pans lined up in a queue. They tell me these big pans have been here for over a week. Their fruitless efforts have led them to another source of water in the bush.
We drink and bathe with it. It is dirty, but our only option. The borehole doesn't flow. Sometimes we filter this water for use. When I see the DCE, I'll tell him to come and use this water. If it's not good for him, then he should drill another borehole for us.
Maupamo is a mother of 4. She has come to fetch water from this irrigation dam. The water here is worse than what they drew from the previous stream they showed me in 2012. If that water looked like milkless tea, this water looks like a millet beverage. It is a brownish cocktail of soil, rotten wood and water.
And I'm not quite sure how the people here treat it before they drink it. But whichever way you treat it, I'm not sure drinking this water is good. The last 5 years that I was here, the water they were drinking was better than this. For now, these people have had to make do with this water. Well, the DCE says the people of Menzgold are in the District Assembly's budget for 2018. Hopefully, they'll have a proper borehole that flows with water. For this quality of water, Maupamo and her friends have walked about 2 kilometers to and fro. They do this more than twice every day. Back in the village, the water is being put to use as women get busy in open kitchens, mostly preparing the local dish, akbele. And while they contend with this dirty water, despite promises made them by authorities, the government has changed, and a new chief executive is in charge at this district.
They came to me with their problems, numerous, water. They even want school for their upkeep. In the process of our budget, we captured those facilities, borehole, that we can spread to the villages around. We did that and we catered for them.
As I traveled back to the city, I kept wondering how toddlers like this boy I found playing in this water and these children taking a shower in this pan get used to what looks like and is actually polluted water. Gifty Ando Apia, Joy News, Menzgold.
Now, where do you live? Do you know a community in a similar situation? Share with us on our social media handles or send an email to joynewsroom@myjoyonline.com. Now, the chiefs and people of Akpafu traditional area and the Hohoi municipality are holding divergent views over the inclusion of the traditional area and the demarcated land area for the new region to be carved out of the Volta region. While some have mounted stiff opposition to the inclusion of the traditional area and want to remain part of the Hohoi municipality, others are elated and support the move. Read Kwame Asari's report.
The Akpafu traditional area is said to have been added to the proposed demarcated area for a new region to be carved out of the Volta region in a petition addressed to the Rawlings-led government in 1992. The petition, said to have been signed by 10 paramount chiefs in the Oti enclave, proposed that Akpafu, Santo Kofi, Likpe, and Lolobi be taken out of the Hohoi municipality and added to districts in northern Volta to make the new region. In that respect, there are rumors that the above areas will be grouped to make the Central Kofi, Akpafu, Lolobi and Likpe districts in the proposed OT region. However, addressing a press conference, the Adontehene of the Akpafu traditional area, Nana Tete Achu IV, maintained that Akpafus were not signatories to the petition.
When the map of Akpafu was wrongly attached to the said petition for the proposed region, the people of Akpafu, for that matter, Mau, including Lolobi, do not oppose the creation of a new region, but that we remain an integral part of our municipality, of which we were founding members as then our district council in 1978, with Lolobi, Sandro Kofi, and be under NRC regime.
However, some residents have accused the assembly member of Akpafu Mempasem, Andrews Ansasi Kasa, of attending meetings on the creation of the new region. He ever explains he is just a liaison between the community and government.
If I, as an honorable person seated here, will say I want to go to OT and others don't want it, I don't see any challenge here. The day we will vote, if I alone will go and vote and we can become OT, fine.
In a related development, the General Secretary for the National Democratic Congress, Johnson Esiedu Nketia, has expressed satisfaction at the ongoing limited voter registration exercise in the demarcated area for the proposed OT region. During a tour of some of the centers, Mr. Nketia said he was glad problems encountered in the early stages have been resolved, resulting in a smooth running of registration exercise. Fred Kwame Asari's report for Joy News.
And that'll be it for the bulletin. My name is Israel.